You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There are only things that makes it official. Welcome to 16 years and 2,500 episodes of the Chris Voss Show. We've been doing this so long, our arms are tired. We just flew in. Anyway, guys, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, linkedin.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss1 on the TikTokity, and Chris Voss, Facebook.com. or facebook.com/Chris Voss. You know where we are. Just go find us. Anyway, guys, we have an amazing young man on the show. We're going to talk about his amazing novel. It is called Oasis 4, out on paperback, hardcover, and Kindle. June 27th, 2024, Dale Chamberlain will be joining us on the show. He'll be talking to us about his book, his collection of stories, and why you can find this as an entertaining read and maybe learn some things. I don't know. Space and science fiction used to be the things I used to enjoy. I used to read a lot of Alan Dean Foster when I was a kid. So there's something about space and science and fiction. So we're going to get into it. Dale isn't just an author. He's a storyteller who connects with readers on a profound level. His latest masterpiece, Oasis 4, is a testament to his gift for crafting rich narratives that whisk readers away to fantastical realms. Whether it's sci-fi or fantasy, Chamberlain's stories have a universal appeal. Like many writers, Chamberlain's journey began with a love of storytelling. Through years of dedication and exploration, he's refined his craft, creating stories that touch the hearts of readers everywhere. But Chamberlain's impact goes beyond the page. He actively engages with the audience, fostering genuine connections and enhancing the reading experience for everyone involved. Welcome to the show, Dale. How are you?
I'm fine. I didn't know I did all that, but I'll take it.
Well, according to your website, sir. So there you go. And storytelling, what a great thing to do. That's basically what the Chris Voss Show is. We're storytellers and we share stories. So give us .coms. Where do you want people to find you on the interwebs?
Dale Chamberlain, DaleChamberlainBooks.com.
There you go. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside your book, Oasis 4?
Oasis 4 it's actually a collection of short stories. It revolves around a space station called Oasis 4, which is a space station owned by a corporation, and it's at a crossroads between trading routes between planets. And because of where they're located, it's a legitimate company, but it that sort of thing attracts a lot of less than legitimate business. And they slowly uncover a criminal syndicate and a slave trade. And this of course, the criminal syndicate thrives off the slave trade. And they have to work hard to, not let it affect them, but they find themselves right in the middle of trying to do as much damage to both the slave trade and the criminal syndicate as they can. They're quite successful, but the story basically, the book revolves around the space station manager, a guy named Phil Ross, and he deals with situations by just doing the decent thing. That's, pretty much what anybody can do. A lot of people would shrug their shoulders and say, well, I can't do anything about that. But, he can't, there's some things he just can't let go.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And so is he the main character in most of the stories?
In most of the stories, yes.
Mm-hmm. I think we talked about it was a collection of short stories, as it were. Or just stories?
Yeah, I wanted to write a book about, with just a collection of different non-related stories, but I wrote Oasis 4 And I said, you know what? I enjoyed that so much. I think I'll write another short story about that. And I've said it before. It really snowballed from there. The story started getting longer and longer, and then I kind of wrote myself into a corner. And I said, well, there's a lot of things in here I need to resolve because the readers are not going to be happy about, they're not going to about not knowing what happens next. So there are a lot of things I had to tie off, and it turned into its own thing. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, there you go. Now, why did you decide to make it? Well, let's start from the top. What prompted you want to write this book? This is your first book, is that correct?
Yes, it is. It's something I wanted to do. I always felt I had I could write a narrative or entertain people with a story, and I wanted to try it. And and I hate to say, but with J.K. Rowling and all of her success with the Harry Potter series, I read all those books. I said, this doesn't look so tough. Maybe getting it popular is kind of hard, but there's other writers too that I really enjoyed reading. Like Tom Clancy is one. I tried to pattern some of my style after his, but he could take 10 pages to describe a number 2 Skillcraft pencil. I tried not to get that involved with it, but there were other writers too, short story writers like Pat McManus. He used to write The Last Laugh Outdoor Life. He's one of my favorites. He was the master of the short story and the humorous narrative. So it was something I thought, well, maybe there's something in it. I'd like to try to entertain people doing that.
There you go. And so when did you start with this book? When did you start writing it?
Oh, it was actually, it was way before COVID even.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. In fact, it's kind of funny. There's one place in my book where they talk about a pandemic, a planet going through a couple pandemics.
Oh, boy.
And that was before COVID. So I hope I didn't get anybody bad ideas. But
I think it's your fault. We can probably blame COVID on you.
A lot of stuff can be blamed on me. So might as well.
I talked to your wife. That's true. No, I'm kidding. I don't even know if you're married.
I am not.
Usually wives keep a list, so you're probably better off then. So the list of everything you've ever done wrong. Marriage jokes, folks. Don't write me. So, what attracted you to science fiction? I mentioned at the beginning of the show that I was attracted to as a child. I loved reading Alan Dean Foster books. I can't think of some of the other authors that I read, but boy, I really love science fiction. I used to eat it up. And
I've always enjoyed, of course, grew up on Star Trek, and Star Wars came out when I was a teenager. So that I wouldn't conflate the two. They're just, in my opinion, two different genres. One is fantasy, and another one is more based in science.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I've always enjoyed that sort of thing. Space. Even movies like Alien.
Oh yeah.
And I've kind of struggled with, well, what are these ships going to be like? What's the space station going to be like? Is it going to be a grungy affair like an Alien, or is it or sleek and polished like Star Trek? I hope I hit a more realistic.
Did you have any pointy ear people in the book? No, I'm just doing Spock jokes.
Well, most people are built like some have extra fingers. There's one race they run into. They actually look like pre-adolescents.
Really?
But they're full-grown people. But you can mistake them for someone that's 10 years old.
I think I see that on Twitter every day.
That very well could be. A lot of kids will surprise you. But,
we do a lot of Twitter callbacks on the show.
Yeah, there's a couple of species that are really unusual, and others that are, more like humans. You can tell them apart, but easily mistaken for humans if you're not if you're not careful.
Well, the humans are usually the weirdest ones,
Well, yeah, in my opinion. Well, in a lot of science fiction, the humans they're kind of weak, and they have to be, the aliens are aggressive and have superior weapons. And in my book, it's the aliens that go, okay, just note to self, leave humans alone.
Yeah.
We're definitely not the weak sister in that crowd.
There you go.
That's kind of a change, it's kind of refreshing.
So now, do the stories in the book that kind of stand by themselves, do they still revolve around the same character's perspective, like
Yes.
first person, or do they maybe work with other characters like their perspective? I think.
No, they work on their own, their own perspective.
As the story is laid out and told and stuff.
Yeah.
What were some examples from the book? Maybe some anecdotes. Can you pull some anecdotes that maybe some of the content you put in the book, or maybe some of the reasoning you put behind some of the scenarios you built and why you built them that way?
Well, there's a couple instances where the Phil Ross, the manager, I wanted to get him in a spacesuit outside the space station, and I had to come up with a scenario where him and a maintenance technician had to don spacesuits and go out and retrieve an artifact from the outside of the space station. That's for some reason I wanted to write that in somehow.
Yeah, that's fun. I've always dreamed of doing that since I was young.
Experiencing zero gravity and all the everything that's involved with doing that. I didn't talk about the claustrophobia that has to be involved with getting into a spacesuit, but maybe they're over that. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I could have got into that I just didn't think I had time to write it, or
sure
it would have detracted from the story maybe.
Well, it's definitely a claustrophobic sort of experience. I mean, yeah, I say that for book 2. That's what we always say as authors. Yeah, save that for book 2. You get done with all that material after book 1, and a lot of it hits the cutting room floor post editing, and you just go, yeah, I got some material for the next book, or all that sort of good stuff. So after writing your first book in science fiction, do you see yourself wanting to return to that genre and continue onward?
Well, the next one, I'm actually working on it now. It's I tied off Oasis 4, so I thought. And I thought, well, people have been asking me, well, how is there going to be a sequel to that? And I said, well, the characters are pretty much, I've got to where they're going their separate ways. I said, well, maybe there's a way I can use the Oasis 4 universe. And so I've introduced brand new characters, and they go to Oasis 4 and they interact with some of the characters from the original book, but completely different scenario. And I've got 2 or 3 stories I could write in that way, where it's not specifically Oasis 4, but it's in that world, so to speak.
There you go. Well, it should be exciting to read. What's the feedback you've gotten from readers so far?
Very positive. There's some people I gave a book to, and they go, I haven't had time to read it yet. Let's see if you get another book from me, Buckwheat. But anyway, my mom read it, and my mom is not a science fiction person. My aunt read it, and they both loved it. They thought it was a super book. Mostly because it's not hardcore science fiction; it's more space adventure.
Space adventure.
Yeah, science fiction. You get into some pretty strange concepts, and something I wanted more the adventure part of it, not the sciencey part of it.
Yeah, but that's kind of the fun. Is that kind of the fun? Go ahead.
I was at Hollywood Book Review. Had a very, very nice write-up on on the book. And you get the idea. A lot of these reviewers, they just open a book in the middle and read some of it, and they write a review based on that. But it sounds like this writer really went through all the book, and she had a very kind write up on it. And it was Hollywood Book Review is the name of the website. And I thought it was very nice. But a lot of people I've talked to that read it, they like it. They comment on it, about some of the funny names they gave the aliens, and and you could get yourself into a lot of trouble doing that too. It's I come up with a situation where there's one group of aliens, they don't have surnames. They use the middle and the first initial, or let's say the first syllable of their father's name and the first syllable of their mother's name. That's the firstborn does it. I come up with this whole sequence of how they come up with names.
Wow.
You kind of write yourself into a corner doing that,
Did you really?
Yeah, and some of these people had some really odd names.
You gave them to them.
It is what it is,
You gave it to them, but I guess if they are aliens, they have weird names, right? They're gonna have.
Yeah, who are we to say?
Who are we to judge? They probably look at our names and go, "You got some weird stuff going on over there, you weirdos." Yeah, that's why aliens in real life don't contact us, because they come here and they just go, "What the?"
Yeah,
fuck
they fly past Earth and they lock their doors.
Lock the doors, roll up the windows as they drive by. Yeah, we've seen those people. Yeah, just keep moving. Go to Saturn. People are nice in Saturn. So anyway, they might be underground though. I don't know. Anyway, what sort of process do you use when you write? Do you usually what did you find that was successful to you? There's a lot of aspiring writers or writers that listen to the show. What did you find worked for you in keeping writing on a consistent basis and getting the words down on the paper?
I honestly can't answer that. Or it's just things would come to me, or I would, as I said before, I'd say, well, I want to get this guy outside the space station,
mm-hmm.
and I would, once a week I drive. I have about a 2-hour drive, once a week, and during that drive, I'm not on, I do pay attention on the road, but my mind is, literally 10 million miles away in Oasis 4, going, okay, well, how do I get that character from where they're at to where I want to get them? What needs to transpire doing that? And I've never sat down and wrote an outline for a story or anything. It's all been just letting things stew a little bit, and then I want to write that down before I forget it.
Mm-hmm. So basically, making sure you keep notes. The great thing about long drives like that, or having time to ponder stuff, is I think the subconscious mind, the conscious mind work together to cook up really cool ideas. And hey, what if you did this? Hey, what if you did that? That sort of thing. Is that what you found? Did that come through?
Oh, I was distracted there. I'm sorry. Was there a question there?
Sorry. I think maybe the audio dropped. So, when the great thing about those long drives is you can take in, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind can work on different things and come up with things. And of course, writing down those good ideas, I've had so many ideas that I'll have in the middle of the night or in the morning or usually before bed. I'll be laying there in bed trying to sleep, and my brain's like, just coming up with ideas, and you're like, this really is the sleepy time. Didn't you not get the memo? And I found that writing them down really helps get them off my mind, but also helps record them, because sometimes you're like, oh, I'll remember it in the morning. You wake up in the morning, you go, that's a great idea. What was that great idea? It's gone. So that can really help.
Yeah. Well, usually when I get back to the house, after giving it a good think over a couple hours, I'll know where to go, with my narrative. So, and even if it happens a lot, especially on this one I'm working on now, I'll I'll write it out, and then I'll say, okay, well, that's it. That's the story. It's written down. And when I say write, I do all. People think I'm weird. I do all my work on an Android pad. I don't type it on a computer, so I can just sit back and relax and do it. But anyway, I'll have it all on the pad, and maybe a day or two later, I'll look at it and say, I really need to fluff that up somehow, or move that. I don't know how many times I've changed chapter 1. No, I think should be chapter 1, and I'll move things around just based on who I think the main character should be and when to introduce different characters. And like I said, it's the nice thing about computer technology is you can rearrange things, and if you don't like it, put it back or put it someplace different.
Yeah.
I'm learning more and more. I am not. I guess I work on airplanes, but when it comes to computers, I am not the most tech savvy person on the planet. But luckily, I'm working a flying club where half our members are computer engineers, so I can get help there.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So the in writing the book, was it hard to find a publisher? How did that work out for you in trying to get it published?
I kept hearing advertisements for Page Publishing in Pennsylvania on the radio, and I thought, maybe I'll give them a try. And I sent them the manuscript, and they said, "Yeah, we could take this project on." So really, that wasn't difficult in the least. Of course, there's a lot of things they don't do. They'll put out a press release and they'll let Amazon know that the book is out there. But they help with editing, and I've had more arguments with editors. Editors, no, you have to. You have to say the, I don't want to put the word the in there. Have you ever heard an aircraft controller talk? Well, in the book, that's the way the station controllers talk, that clipped speech. And a lot of things that, this person's in tears reading the book. They're just so frustrated. But no, I really know what I'm talking about here,
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty wild, all the stuff that's out there. And with science fiction, you kind of have an endless palette of different things you can do, because all of it's really creative, right? If you write something here that's kind of about, I don't know, humans and life, you're kind of stuck in a box of what it is, unless you maybe, I don't know, write about the future of humans, and that kind of becomes science fiction. But with science fiction, you can make up aliens and spaceships and scenarios, and you can kind of utilize, the endless reaches of space as your
it's hard to come up with a fresh new idea, because all the really cool ones have been taken.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what is that old thing that all the good stuff gets repeated anyway eventually?
That's true, but you don't want people looking like, yeah, he did it. I saw that Schwarzenegger movie. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you don't want to rip people completely off and kind of create your own lane. But I think that's where, developing characters and stories and kind of making it to kind of your genre. Like a lot of great authors, you can, when you read them, you can be like, I know who wrote this, kind of sort of thing. I mean, I imagine you can pick up on Stephen King or Alan Dean Foster. I mean, I imagine, I don't know. But yeah, there's kind of a fingerprint, I think, that you have in the art after a while. People might use.
Yeah, there are authors that I really admire that you try to say, I want my book to read a lot like his, And
do you have a favorite science fiction or a few favorite science fiction authors?
Not really. I'm not. In our family, I wasn't the sci-fi guy.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I really did not have I enjoy science fiction movies more than anything, but I've got a small collection. sci-fi movies from like the 50s, which were, like Forbidden Planet and things like that, which if you look at them now, and it's like, that for the 1950s, that was really cool, and a lot of concepts that were kind of out there.
Yeah, there you go. It's so movies may have been the biggest thing. Like you said, Star Trek and Star Wars are kind of your influence.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, and I didn't want to copy them exactly.
Well, they do that. Star Wars does that pretty much on its own. Like,
yeah, they do. And you look at Star Wars, and it's, they act like all the inhabited planets are like next to each other. You could get a good pair of binoculars and see the next one, and it's really not that way.
Yeah,
it's in real life. It's. I don't know what kind of distances you would have to travel to find another planet that would support life. A really long distance. Like many thousands of light years away. It's like I said, Star Trek, gigantic spaceships blasting away at each other. I don't know. It sounds that sounds way out there to me.
Yeah, totally out there. The one thing that kind of made me take the shine off of Star Wars was so many of the movies were just, I'm like, another Death Star? Really? Like, we're blowing up another Death Star? How many times are we going to regurgitate this story of like, can we come up with something other than a Death Star? It kind of got a little old for me. I was like, can we do something different? And then if you've seen Star Wars is based off the movie, I believe, The Fortress, by the famed director of film, Akira Kurosawa, I believe it was. And the Star Wars plot, the movie, the characters, everything, it's just set in a different time, is literally lifted, and even what's his face, the gentleman who did Star Wars, the famed director for that, he literally admits that he lifted it from
George Lucas. Yeah.
That's what Hollywood does.
He borrowed a lot of stuff. He would take a picture of was like the Millennium Falcon cockpit he based that on a B-29 cockpit.
Yeah. So that's how they develop stuff. I mean, it's kind of how Hollywood works. I mean, everything's kind of regurgitated.
They borrow from each other, and they lean on each other.
Creative swiping, we call it in business. There you go. So as we go out, give people a final pitch out to order up your book wherever fine books are sold.
You can get that from DaleChamberlainBooks.com.
There you go. Do they get any bonuses if they order it from you off your website?
Well, I get the bonus. I don't have to share it with Amazon.
So there you go, folks. Go to his website and order it up there. And you can find the book wherever fine books are sold. Oasis 4 out on paperback, June 27th, 2024 by Dale Chamberlain. Dale, thank you very much for coming to the show. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. And thanks to our audience for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTok and Facebook.com/Chris Voss. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.